Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Raridan, and I'll be your coach this evening. So we didn't get a chance to have an earlier session that I thought was going to happen today, but I prefer 7 o'clock. It works better for my schedule and hopefully for yours. And you can always watch playback on YouTube, on Twitch, and I believe Facebook has a feature where you can look at older videos that were posted live. If you haven't done so, and you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things videos like. And without further ado, let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be talking about what's going on in the world, right? Mainstream media. We could be talking about world news, politics, and not necessarily talking to the point of taking a side, but just seeing what's out there. And I wrote a blog. I'm not sure if it's out yet because I write so far in advance where there's always going to be content coming out every week. And one of the blogs I wrote was going to be how you find your media source. And it's important to be able to find your beliefs, right? Because that's what media is going to be your belief. Shout out to Bagoon Chips in Twitch chat, and let's get into it. So we're going to head over to all of our social media websites or all our mainstream websites, and we're going to be talking about CNN, NBC, Fox News, ABC, Google News, and then we're going to do an Infowars news because I think they have some interesting topics where when compared to everything, it's totally different. So we're going to get into that right now. So here we have all of the news. And of course, you can just type in CNN News, NBC News, and you're going to get this, right? This is nothing special. And you want to be able to see what's going on in the world, right? You don't want to be uninformed, but then at the same time, you don't want to be misinformed. And that's where people have a difficulty. They think when they hear something from the news, it has to be their belief, right? It has to be truth because the news is reporting it. However, the news can report whatever they feel like, right? It can be their opinion, it can be the truth, and it could be a lie. So how do we figure out what's real and what's not? And we have to do our homework. So let's do some homework today. And this is a series that I bring back every other Friday about where we talk about the news, right? We just talk about it. We're not taking sides. We are just looking at the news. So here we have apartments being left. Okay, great. Maybe I need to know that. We have a stabbing of British lawmaker. Okay, probably important. Maybe. But do I need to know that? I don't know. Biden does Department of Justice should prosecute those who defy January 6th. Okay. Sure. Do I need to know that? Probably not. 4 key moments from Dr. Sanjay Gupta's appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast. And they're probably doing this because of the whole ivermectin thing that Joe was on. And then CNN said he's taking horse to warmer or something like that. And Joe came on air on the podcast and said that was a lie. So that was interesting. So we have all these things. Then we have life in the pandemic. U.S. has a reopening date. Here's what travelers need to know. This is nice clickbait right here. I would almost be interested in clicking this, but I'm not going to click it. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to click it. The U.S. has a reopening date. Here's what travelers need to know. If you live in America, you are free. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You choose where you live, right? And there's certain states that are going to be more liberated and more open than others. And that's just the way it is, right? And if you want, we could take sides for a second. If you're a blue state, it might be more restricted. If you're a red state, it might be less restricted. Just saying. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the case in every state. Florida, for example, they're open. And I'm sure there's, many Democrats in that state. But at the same time, Florida is a red state, right? Historically. Texas, too. It's a red state. Texas is open. Let's look at blue states, New York, California. And they have vaccine mandates. You need to, I think, still wear a face mask to go inside establishments, things like that. So it's a little bit different, right? Just a different lifestyle, a different environment, because that's where you chose to live if you're living in those areas. Now, if you were born there, right? If you were born there and you're over the age of 18, you are now choosing to live there, right? If you're living there because you have to be with your parents and you're in school, at 18, you can move. Now, if you move, that's your choice, right? You can move wherever you want. But if you stay, that's also a choice. So people who think that, oh, I was born here and all my family's here and I can't move, that's a choice. So U.S. reopening date. What day is that? I mean, I don't really care what someone tells me. It could be on any news. It could be Fox News, CNN, ABC, ABC, NBC. All of those news channels can tell me when the U.S. is going to be reopening. However, that does not concern me because in my eyes, it's already open, right? I decided that I'm going to live my life the way I want to live. And people have a hard time or a difficult time realizing that. They are going to be told what to do. They want to be told what to do. Tell me what I need to do to be safe. Okay? What would happen if the rhetoric changed and CNN said, hey, this virus, is bad. It is not super deadly, but it can take, it can take some lives, but it's nothing for you to worry about. Carry on with your day. Carry on. What would happen if they did that? Everything would change. The fear mongering of COVID, people rushing out to vaccines or fighting for mandates, all that would be nil. But they are saying, let's do this. And now people are interested. And now this right here is just a carrot on a stick. We have a reopening date. Make sure you're good. Because if you're not good and you're not doing what we're telling you to get the booster or to get the shot or to follow mandates or wear your mask, this date might move, so make sure you're being careful. Okay. I understand their point, right? I understand their point of view. But that's fear mongering, right? That's saying if you are a good boy or girl, then we will open. If you're naughty, you're going to be punished. And I don't think that's fair, right? It's not fair to the people who got the vaccine, who got the booster, who follow mandates, who wear the mask. How is that fair to them? And it's not. So when is your reopening date? That's the question you need to ask yourself. When is my reopening date? Because, yeah, someone can tell you when to live your life, or you can wake up in the morning and choose to live your life the way you want to live. You can pack your belongings and move to where you want to move to. That's your choice. It's your right. So, all of that stuff. And here you have White House announces date for fully vaccinated visitors to enter the United States, which is kind of BS because the border's open. I was down there in February, and we could talk about that. But what I saw was people coming across, COVID positive, and they would be being put into hotels, and after they were done with the paperwork or they figured out where they wanted to go, they were set free. No vaccine, nothing. Anywhere in the United States they wanted. They wanted to go to Chicago, here's a plane ticket, here's a bus ticket, have fun. They wanted to go to New York, here's your plane ticket, have fun. California, here's your plane ticket. Nevada, here's your plane ticket. And they sent them anywhere they wanted. And when asked where they were going, they would say, oh, I'm going over to Chicago. And then we asked, okay, well, if you're going to Chicago, do you have any family there? No, they said, okay. Well, do you have work lined up? No, we don't. Okay, well, what's your plan? We don't know. They didn't know. But what they did know was that they were going to be moving from where they were staying to a new opportunity, right? But now they're just out and about, carrying on. Might be safe, right? Might not be safe. I mean, we're not going to get into that today, but that's just an opinion, right? And we can make our own opinions on all of this news, right? Texas administrator tells teachers to include Holocaust books with opposing views. We can be mad about that, but the school system is already political, right? We are telling our children, the students, what they need to know or what we believe they need to know. This whole critical race theory thing going on, do you think they need to know that? And of course, that's going to be opinion, but I think Morgan Freeman said it the best. If you want to end racism, you stop talking about it. And I'll tell you a story. When I was a teacher and I was in the car line, there was these twin African-American boys who got out of their car and they were walking into the school. They were in kindergarten, if I didn't say that. And one of their classmates got out of the car after. So it was like about a car or two behind them. So now they're walking into the building. And this girl sees them, also in the kindergarten, of course, they're classmates. And she is a white girl, blonde hair. And she sees them and she shouts their names and she runs to them. Okay. And they're hugging in the middle of the lane going into school, right? All the parents, all the teachers, the mom of the twins, the mom of the girl, were all smiling. Every single one of them. We were all smiling at that. We didn't say anything. We didn't say it was wrong. We didn't say it was right. We were smiling. And it wasn't because this young girl didn't see color. She saw two friends. But because it's not so much what we tell them to do or tell them to believe, but what they choose to believe, how they grow up by example. So yeah, we can be upset at what happened to us in history, or we can choose to see what's ahead of us. And if you're worried so much about what happened to you, you are not going to be paying attention to what could happen for you. Pay attention. So let's get into the next thing. So CNN was cool. Great. Yeah. Let's go to NBC. What is NBC talking about? So pregnant at 15, married at 16. She's speaking out to end child marriages. Okay. Maybe that's something you might want to read if you're a parent. Let's see. Ex-Michigan football star says he was abused by a team doctor. Okay. Maybe I need to know that. Let's go to top stories. Coronavirus. CDC releases official guidance for upcoming holiday. Ooh. Clickbait. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to click it. CDC tells me what I can do for this holiday season. That's exactly what that headline reads. CDC tells me what I can do this holiday season. Last time I checked, I was my own boss. And the last time I checked, I didn't have to answer to anyone. Yeah, sure. I can listen to CDC, the president, the vice president, speaker of the house, the governor, the bishop, the pope. I can listen to them. But we're talking about how to find and dissect your news, your beliefs. And at no time am I going to limit myself. I'm not. I'm not going to stoop down to someone's level so they can get ahead. I'm not going to stoop down to someone's level because they can't keep up. Either you keep up or you're getting left behind. And people are told no. And that no becomes their gravestone. Because they never surpassed that no because they were told no before. And guess what? All of a sudden, now that no is something they're always going to be focused on. I can't do it. They told me I can't do this. It's not safe. I can't do this. You choose. It's important for that. You make the choice. And however you want to live, and you can base that on science, religion, on your own personal beliefs of what should happen, but it's your opinion, right? Of course, use caution, use, intellect to find your purpose, right? To find your belief. And for someone to say, hey, you can't have Christmas, you can't have a gathering, but guess what? They can. They can. It's a double standard that is not put out there quite enough. Obama's party. I think a couple months back now. 500 people in attendance. They weren't all wearing masks. And they weren't all vaccinated. But they had a party. What happened to the 10 people minimum or maximum, or the 50 people maximum? If it was outdoor, you can have 100 people. And then we lifted that and they said, well, don't have parties or you can't have Christmas. We can't have Christmas. That's interesting. And people are going to choose not to have Christmas. I remember there was a person who had got the vaccine, and he posted on Twitter he got the vaccine, and then a year later he was like, I was finally able to hug my mom. And I was like, you could have hugged her before the vaccine too. And studies show now that the vaccine doesn't even prevent you from getting COVID. So why are you waiting, right? Don't wait to live life. Choose to live life. Let's see. Talked about that already. We talked about this. To U.S. to ease entry rules require vaccination for foreign visitors on November 8th. Okay, I guess for the holidays. That's fine. Okay, so now they're recommending the booster for emergency use. If you want to get the booster, go for it. That's your opinion. It's your belief. Of course, that's fine. Johnson & Johnson. So if you got the one shot, they want you to get another one, right? Hey, we need a booster. Not a problem, right? Let's get into Fox News. Fox News. Okay, Biden press secretary responds after being slapped with ethics complaints over comments during briefing. And I would have to click that to get the true story, but it doesn't really pertain to my life, so I'm not going to read it. let's see. Okay, so this is just kind of hypocrisy here. They're saying, oh, we need to defund the police, but she's spending all this money on private security, which private security is very expensive. So if she's spending all that money to make sure she's protected and safe, you want to pay attention to that, right? 'Cause people who have money to have a personal bodyguard or personal security, those people are saying to defund the police. That's your security in the end. So they're taking away your security, right? So figure that out for yourself, right? They can get security. What's her name? AOC. I don't even know her real name. She spends a lot of money on private security, rightfully so. A lot of people don't like her, and so she's scared. So she has to get private security, but then at the same time she's shouting defund the police. So again, double standard a little bit. You want to make sure you pay attention to that. I mean, if you don't, hey, that's not important to you. That's fine. But Fox News, great, right? Whatever. ABC, all right. What do we got here? Booster shots, okay? So ABC is promoting the booster. Get the booster, everybody, if you want to. Let's see. All this stuff. Politics. Nope. My body is not their property, Texas. I don't know what happened there. My body is not their property, Texas women journeying for an abortion. If you don't know anything about this story, it's because they made it illegal, or I don't know if illegal is the right word. They banned abortions in Texas. And it was something like after 6 weeks or something, until like the baby has a heartbeat, or until the fetus has a heartbeat, you're not allowed to get an abortion anymore. But people are fighting for this. If they really want an abortion, they can just cross state lines, get the abortion. But it has to be a big deal. I understand. News, right? Click it, watch it, give us money for ads. Okay, Infowars. Infowars is an independent news media source, and they talk about everything and anything, right? So it can be politics, it can be about local news, it can be about this story right here. A drive-by shooter opens fire on Maryland shopping center, wounding a child. Okay, we can watch that, but we're not trying to promote violence, right? So we're not going to watch it. And all of these other features, of course, death for when he looked down, or space. I mean, of course, more news, right? Where do you get your news from? It's important, right? Where do you get your news from? This is Google News or Bing News or whatever news. Here we have top stories. Okay. Mixing COVID booster shots? Sure. I guess Bill Clinton had COVID. Who knows? Psaki, she, I guess, broke a law. Sure. So people are leaving J&J and trying the other shots. Okay. Let's get in a little bit more news. We have to do a few more. So USA Today, and then we're going to do the last one on Google so you can see the Google News. So government watchdog group accuses Psaki of violating Hatch Act. That was what we read. All of J&J vaccine takers should get a booster. So if you had the J&J, get ready for the second dose. Then we talk about just some other stuff. So Bill Clinton has sepsis. I think that's how you say it. All this good stuff. And then there's some stuff going on with like cargo ships and they're not being able to dock, right? So supply chain shortages. And if you haven't paid attention, if you go to the grocery store, some of the shelves are bare, right? There's nothing there. And yeah, it might not be prevalent where you are, but pay attention to that, right? If there's missing spots right now, there might be missing spots in 3 months or in 6 months. So I'm not going to say stock up. I'm not going to say make sure you're prepared for the inevitable, right? This is not conspiracy. This is not fear mongering. This is just news. You make your own belief. You make your own choices. And that's what I promote. Your choice. If you want to believe something, believe it. But at the same time, don't shove it down someone's throat. Similar to how I help people become more accountable to get the results they want, to operate at a higher potential, right? To elevate themselves, to elevate their lives. And that leads to success. I would be wrong, plus I'll also be more tired, if I'm going to tell people, hey, you need to become successful. You need to be rich. You need to do this plan that's going to get you rich. And if you're not doing it, you're crazy. I could do that. But at the same time, it goes to that old adage of you could bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Similar to how success is. Similar to how people believe and see the world. They're going to see the world different, and that's fine. We have grown into a society where other people's beliefs and opinions don't matter. We have grown into a society where people have become complacent in the lives they're living, and the lives they're living are scraps of what other people are living, or less than ideal. And yes, you could be in a great place right now. You can be in a better place than you were last year. Keep going if that's the case. But if you're in the same place 5, 10, 20 years, pay attention to that. Because you're going to be going down after a while if you're thinking you're staying in the same place. It's called the rat race. Let's go to Google. Google News, and we'll call it a day because too much news is never a good thing. Thank you, Google, because who knows? So we have climate crisis. Oh my God, we have the climate, and we have global warming. Okay, cool. Do we need to know about that? Maybe you want to know about it. Press secretary, whatever. We talked about that. Superintendent, whatever. But this right here is pretty big too. It gets people's attention, right? Because it's another fear factor based news, and people are going to focus on. I want to click it. I just want to go to the New York Times, so people are gonna want to read this because they're like, oh my God, it's getting warmer, it's getting colder, Texas freeze, things like that, right? Okay, sure. But what happens if you look back at the evolution, not the evolution, but the weather pattern on the earth? You'll see that it fluctuates every so often, right? Some places will be very hot, like for example, California had record temperatures this year. Texas, as you may know, Texas freeze, they had record lows. And we are just in this cycle change, and the cycles typically last around 30 years, right? Give or take. So if we are changing our cycle, of course, now people are going to be worried for the next about 30 years because they haven't done any research. They simply are told, oh, this is a crisis, right? We need to figure something out. Okay. That's fine. Figure it out. But at the same time, how does that affect you? Does it really affect you? Like, you have to start asking yourself that. Because if it doesn't, why be concerned? Right? Maybe you saw the ocean rise and you are now fearful that eventually New York or California or Florida is going to be underwater. Maybe so. Maybe so, right? And you can be fearful about the vaccine and about catching an illness. You can, but you want to pay attention to what's going on. You want to be paying attention to what the news is telling you. All these news sources have different news, right? That's fine. But make sure after you get your news, you have to ask yourself one specific question. How does this affect me? So when understanding how does this affect me, we get to the thought process or the thought processes of what I need to do next. So if it affects you, right? Or if it is affecting you, then you have to come up with a plan. So if you are going to be a person who is letting news affect you every single day, that's going to have a different effect than someone who allows the news to affect them only a partial amount of the time. Because besides weather, what type of news do you need to know? Yeah, I guess maybe if there's like something going on in your neighborhood, but you can sign up to a police alert system as a text message, and you can be part of that program from your local police department, and they send you a text if anything's going on. A popular app that does that is Nextdoor. You can use a Nextdoor app and your neighbors will tell you what's going on in your neighborhood. And then you also have the Ring app, which is Amazon, where people will report in your area if there's like a package theft, if someone is breaking cars, etc., right? They do that already. So your news can just be local, what's around you. And it's also important to understand what's on the other side of the fence, but not to live there because you don't live there. We have so many people trying to live on the other side of the fence when they're on their side, but they're not paying attention to what's around them. So don't be worried about what's happening on the other side of the world. Don't be worried about what's happening in your friend's life. Focus on you, right? Focus on what you would like to happen, what you need to do to get the life that you're looking for. And people struggle to get that. People struggle to get that peace. They struggle to get that type of living because they're so accustomed to coming home and turning on the news. They're so accustomed to getting this propaganda that instills fear in us. And we want to make sure that when we're looking at sources, does it invoke fear into me? And some of my stuff might invoke fear in you, right? I'm not going to say that the things I talk about might not invoke fear. But if I'm invoking fear, okay, it's going to be more of an awakening for you. Hey, if you want to get your act together, do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. That's what I talk about. Getting it done right now. And that's because we don't know how much time we have, right? No one does. So why not act and get the best life you can sooner than later? Or get the life you were meant to have sooner than later? And that's where people struggle the most, to act. Because they have been told to sit down, be quiet, raise your hand, and we'll call on you when we need you, when we want you. Well, I'm telling you to no longer sit down, no longer remain quiet. In the sense, let your voice be heard. Do not allow your thoughts or your beliefs to be muffled because they're going to hurt someone's feelings. If you hurt their feelings, oh well. If they leave you, oh well. That means that it wasn't meant to be. Right? We can chalk it up to that if you want. We can even break it down into specific reasons. But for that, book a session. Your relationships, your environment, your choice. And if people don't want to be in your circle, let them go. Because at the end of the day, if you're focused on what you need to do, you don't need anyone else. And the news is trying to keep you in their circle. Make your own circle. Make your own beliefs. Create your own truths. And then follow life the way you would like to live. Because at the end of the day, remember, you have one. So don't be limited by anybody. If someone says that you can't do something or you're not able to do something because there's restrictions or that there's a pandemic and you need to stay inside or you need a certain type of health screening because that's what we want. No. If your answer is no, then that's your answer. If your answer is yes, that's your answer. Right? Choose. You do. And I'm not going to judge you if you choose the way I don't choose. It's not my job. You choose what you want. What I do for people is I help them get from A to B. And if you're stuck at A and you want to get to B, reach out. If you're stuck at A and you like A, stay there. I'm going to sleep just like I sleep every single night without a worry. And you should too. You shouldn't be worried about what's happening tomorrow. You shouldn't be worried about how you're going to pay your rent or your phone bill, electric bill, water bill. You're living life wrong if you are. Problems like that are so minuscule. You should have a problem with, how am I going to travel the world? That could be a problem, right? Because we don't know how long we're going to live. If you're trying to travel the whole entire world and hit every single continent, get to work. Your beliefs, your purpose, your ambitions are yours. So we spent some time today talking about the news. We spent some time talking about our own personal beliefs and simply finding your truth. And your truth should be exactly that, yours. You don't need to share your truth with someone and they don't need to believe your truth because they have their truth. And the sooner we can realize that people are going to be their own people, then we can move on with the whole, oh, this person is separated. This person does something I'm against. Okay. That's why we have laws. And it's not so much about implementing new laws. It's about understanding what is going to be the best for the majority of people without infringing on their freedom. And if someone feels, because feels is an opinion, it's on emotion, that they don't want to be around certain people because they have certain beliefs, that's fine. I'm sure there's people who don't want to be around me because of my culture or my race. That's fine. But people who have worked with me, people who have become acquaintances, friends, maybe per se, those type of people, if you ever talk negative about me to them, they will look at you like you're weird. They'll say, Michael, you're wrong. Because someone can say someone is racist, someone can say someone is a Nazi, someone can say someone is against freedom or for freedom, Trump lover, Biden lover, whatever, right? They can be a certain stigma. We can say whatever we want about the person, but the people who know the truth about the person, they don't even have to go to the person and say, hey, is this true? Did you really say this? Do you really mean this? It's because they already know you. And it's so funny that people are so quick to judge. People are so quick to start an argument or to slander somebody without looking in the mirror first. I think that's interesting because that is a learned mindset. Very similar to bullying. Very interesting. So we're going to end that today. We're going to pick it up on Monday. We're going to be talking about the blog Monday, and we're going to be getting into more health and fitness stuff next week. Probably have an interview on Friday, another workshop Wednesday, which is a fun one. So make sure you tune in for that, especially if you are getting into dieting and you don't know the first steps. Definitely a must watch next week, Wednesday. So if you have any questions, hit me up, coachinginsession@gmail.com. If you want to work with me just on life in general, reverendconcepts.com, head over to the website, schedule a free consultation. Be more than happy to give you some free info for you to figure out your next steps, because people think it's going to cost them so much money to get a life coach or to be in a better position than they are. That might be the case. I have had clients who worked with me one entire month and we increased their salary $10,000. Multiple clients, $10,000 plus within 1 month. And if you go to my website, you can see my pricing. A drop in the bucket for how much money you could be making. I found that very interesting. 1 month of hard work and deliberate effort, which is difficult. I'm not going to say it's easy, because I did require a lot from them, and they did. If they achieved it, they did the work. But the outcome, the end result, they have $10,000 more in income every year, just because they did 1 month of work, 1 month of purposeful work, doing exactly what I said, and they got it done. Now, of course, there's going to be people who, of course, are lazy and they don't want to do it because they're complacent. They don't want to change their habits, but they would like to change their habits. Guess what? That $10,000 might not be a reality. And it might take several months in order for you to get to that $10,000 mark or increase in your salary. It's a mindset thing. And that's what we do here. We change mindsets. We change your way of thinking, not your beliefs. Unless your belief is limiting, we do change that. Because you should live free. You should live uninvited. You should be able to fly as high as you want in life. Remember that. So, any questions again? Coachinginsession@gmail.com, RevenantConcepts.com. I will talk to you again next week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, everyone, take care.